Welcome to Creepypasta series by Disney Series. Disneyland parks are the most famous theme park in the world. Walt Disney envisioned an amusement park in which his cartoon characters could come to life and interact with the visitors. He also wanted a park that catered to the entire family. That's why he created Disneyland. Disneyland is a great place, but anyone who knows the Disney understands that beneath the magic is an even more fascinating network of underground tunnels stuffed with dark secrets and twisted undertones. One could fill an encyclopedia with all of Disneyland's hidden worlds and histories, but for now I shall focus on something simple and morbid: top famous deaths in the Disneyland. Let's have a look at the most famous ones, shall we? Let the magic begin. Let the magic begin. 1. The People Mover no longer exists at Disneyland. It claimed several victims. The first was 17-year-old boy who left his car just as it was passing through a tunnel in 1967. The young man fell and was crushed beneath oncoming cars. In 1980, the People Mover killed again, crushing another young park visitor in the super-speed tunnel as the recent high school grad attempted to move from one car to another. His body was dragged for more than 100 feet before an operator stopped the ride. 2. Beware the Monorail. In June of 1966, a 19-year-old attempted to sneak into Disneyland by scaling the monorail track. Though a guard attempted to warn him of an oncoming train, the young man was not able to get out of the way quickly enough, and was hit by the train and dragged about 30 feet along the track. So he died on site. 3. Disneyland. In the summer of 1973, 18-year-old park visitor and his 10-year-old brother managed to achieve the common dream of hiding out in the park past closing time by stowing away on Tom Sawyer Island. Instead of asking cast members for help off the island several hours later, they decided to swim off the island across the rivers of America to avoid detection. Being an accommodating older brother, the soon-to-be drowning victim pulled his younger brother along on his back through the river, but grew exhausted and drowned. His brother managed to stay afloat by dog paddling, and was eventually rescued by cast members. But by then, his older brother was nowhere to be seen and was found dead the next morning. In 1984, another drowning took place in the rivers of America, when an 18-year-old park goer and a friend stole a maintenance motorboat for a nighttime joyride. After hitting a rock, the young man was tossed overboard and drowned before his friend was able to get help. 4. Shipwreck. While most of Disneyland's deaths are a result of recklessness on behalf of park attendees, one tragic 1998 event was caused by negligence on behalf of the park. On Christmas Eve of that year, 3 people included 2 guests and 1 cast member, were killed after being struck by a cleat on the sailing ship Columbia, that was set loose after the rope to which it was attached tore loose. This event caused Disneyland to rethink its operations and safety procedures, which are now more rigorous than ever. 5. Matterhorn. In May 1964, a 15-year-old boy died 3 days after sustaining injuries to his head and torso on the Matterhorn bobsleds, after being thrown from his car onto the tracks below. Either this teen or his friend unbuckled his seatbelt, and he had attempted to stand near the peak of the mountain. 20 years later, the first female Disneyland death took place in a very similar position, as a 48-year-old park visitor was thrown to her seat as her car went full throttle down the mountain, and run over by an oncoming bobsled. The woman's seatbelt was not fastened, but because she was alone in her car, nobody knows if she had deliberately freed herself. In this video, we make light of these tragic deaths. Our heart goes out to the victims and their families, and we regret that any of these events took place. Rather than mock these violent deaths, we hope to point out that every seemingly perfect place has more depth and complexity than one might expect.